Hello guys, good day. Welcome to another video. So today we'll be doing our weekly forecast like we said yesterday, and we just jumped direct to the charts. We started from the US dollar. So one thing I want to put out there is that every day you don't have to get your bias correct. Like the market might not be very clear to you that okay, this is what market wants to do, because there are some days the bias will be very clear, right? There are some days you need to just sit and fold your hands while you watch price. So I'll quickly go to my dollar. The I'll start from the um, yearly time frame. So the yearly time frame, I did write down all this stuff before coming on the live stream. For the yearly time frame, what am I saying in the yearly time frame? It's very simple though. Market was actually giving higher prices. It was actually rallying up to this yearly fair value gap, down fair value gap. So market actually tagged in. If you should look very well, you will see that. Let me increase. Market actually came to the yearly fair value gap, gave down prices, then it came down to this yearly fair value gap. This fair value gap, this candle was still huge momentum to the downside. Then you see this candle, 2018 candle, swept the previous year, then it's giving higher prices. Then from this fair value gap, market is creating another fair value gap, but this is not really it's not giving high good price, because it's you see price actually went up and price is closing down inside this range from this low to this high. It's like market actually broke the range and market is closing back inside the range. So this is kind of like a rejection candle for me. Then when I draw it alongside price, you see that this candle, that is 2024, closed above the rejection candle. So definitely 2025 we will be heading to the upside. This monthly stroke yearly liquidity above here, that's the swing point. But what market did, market came into this fair value gap. So one or two things, we can see rejection from here to the upside, or we can see that price might actually double consolidate probably throughout this year. I don't know. Then probably next year we might sweep this previous year low, then before we see higher prices. Never can tell, but regardless, we still try as much as possible to react to price in the lower time frame. So since I might be anticipating that dollar might be consolidating this year, I'll be very careful this year with trades taking US dollars and anything relating to US dollar. I'll be focusing more on the indices. But regardless, fingers crossed, we never know what price can actually do. We can actually see a huge, you see this week here, we can still see something like huge week over here and see higher prices to this highs this year. You never can tell. But what I said earlier on, we tend to react to price, we don't predict. So come to my monthly time frame. What is my monthly time frame doing? Now you see this huge move to the downside coming to this yearly fair value gap. This is like a major swing low. Market actually dipped in, and we see that market is actually running this swing low. This is like a major liquidity point. And for me though, like you can see what price actually did. Price actually went up, clearing this liquidity above before coming down. So if market should close here without coming into the range again this month, we can regard this series of high candles as either order block or fair value area. So we can say, okay, next month we can see price coming to the fair value area before looking for lower prices. Never can tell. Like I said, we react to price, we don't force our narrative on price. So go to your weekly time frame. What is our weekly time frame doing? Weekly time frame is still bearish, because as we can see, the order flow in the weekly is still bearish. And what I said in the previous video, I said something about if the order flow in the market higher time frame wants to change, it takes longer time for it to change. For the weekly was still very bearish. There is nothing in price I will say okay or bullish. For me, price is still very bearish on the dollar. We are seeing this fair value area here now in the weekly time frame, and this is the weekly fair value gap. So as you can see, this is no wick candle. Whenever you see a no wick candle, try to be suspicious, because market majority of the time when there is a no wick candle, market tends to go back to trade to that place whereby there is no wick. So I'll just indicate this in the charts like no wick. I'll just put this red line here. It's like 0 wick. So I might expect price to still come back to the weekly open. So still bearish though. Still bearish. I'm not saying I want to buy from here to target weekly. No. It's when I actually see order flows shifting in the lower time frame before I can say okay, I can want to be buying the dollar. So go to the daily time frame. Daily time frame, what are we seeing in the daily time frame? We say daily time frame is still bearish because this was the fair value gap we talked about in the previous video. Market actually came to the fair value gap, giving lower prices, and this was the contest low we spoke about. So now this is a huge close, market running this low. So tomorrow I'll be still watching the price. I'm not going to be taking trade tomorrow. I'll still be watching the market and see if we're going to create a fair value gap here, so we can come into the fair value gap, then keep looking for lower prices. Just because the dollar is still bearish, there is no reason to be looking for buys yet, because the dollar is still very bearish. But if tomorrow we should actually come all the way, not creating a fair value gap tomorrow, we should be suspicious, because there is momentum coming to the markets. You can literally see all of that in the lower time frame. That is the 4 hour. 4 hour, in a sense, that see what I actually did here. This is a fair value gap, and we know our 2 candle rejection. Now market actually entered the fair value gap, giving a reaction. If this candle should sweep this candle, it was supposed to be seeing lower prices, but if price should give a candle close above this place, like what we discussed here, you see what we discussed here, that price is actually going into our fair value area. We discussed this in our previous video. Price actually went to our fair value area, and you see this fair value gap here. So we said okay, this is a rejection from this fair value gap. If price should close below this rejection, we'll be looking for lower prices, ideally so this lows here, and this candle closing below this, we're expecting this lows to go, and market opening today is just dumped and just swept all this liquidity going to the downside. But that aside though, this is still like fair value area in the lower time frame. But what I actually said, we're going to wait and see what price actually does before we'll be looking to we want to buy or sell the dollar. So the dollar is just saying we just sit and wait and see what price actually does. No need to rush anything, just sit and wait and see what price does. So for now, fingers crossed, I'm just observing price. I'm not trading anything relating to the dollar. I'm not doing anything, because if you see something like AUD, USD and everything, once the dollar tends to give clear narrative, before I will be like okay, I want to look at the majors. But since I'm not having good bias yet on the dollar, I'm not checking all the spares. But that aside, if you see GBP USD, like we spoke about the other time, this was the level we wanted to buy from. This was the level we wanted to buy from, and we can see this level actually gave a good price, but I wasn't involved in this market. It was a good buy, very good buy. Anytime I tend to come to the chart and see this level that I wanted to buy from, and seeing the way market actually, I'm not going to hold throughout though, but I'm just saying that have been like 6%. But regardless, it happens. We just tend to okay, watch price, and probably later when we're faced with the same scenario again, the confidence will be there, because we've experienced this now in the market. We tend to visit this in our journal. Then over time the confidence will be there, whereby if we see same setup again, we'll be more confident to want to take the setup. So that aside, what I'll be looking for this week, I'll be focusing more of the indices. So now the indices the monthly time frame. The monthly time frame actually came to this swing low, giving a reaction from this swing low. That doesn't mean we start looking for higher prices, because this is the higher time frame. The candle is not yet closed, because candles can literally, before candle close, it can go up, come down, do whatever. You tend to make decision when is the close of the candle. So we'll go to our weekly time frame. What's our weekly time frame doing? After market came to this monthly swing low, this week, the week actually gave a huge move to the upside, not giving a fair value gap here. This is giving bullish momentum. Ideally, if we're still going up, we can see that okay, price might actually come back, coming into a daily fair value gap or 4-hour fair value gap, then giving higher prices again. But that being said, go to your daily time frame. What's our daily time frame doing? We see that we actually came into this daily fair value gap. We came into this daily fair value gap. The first candle closed inside, then the second candle gave a rejection. But the reason why this price actually went up like this, you can see all of that in the lower time frame. That's the 4-hour time frame. So what is the 4-hour time frame doing? The 4-hour time frame is very easy. We can see that okay, the way price actually rallied up here. Let me do this. The way price actually rallied up here, we can see that this is a fair value area. That is this swing high with this huge fair value gap. The high here is actually fair value area. And what the price did, price actually came in. This is a huge rejection from the fair value area. Then I tend to mark out this fair value area low. That's the rejection candle. And this top right here is the daily time frame rejection candle. Because if you see it now, this is the daily time frame. This is the fair value area for the daily time frame. This is the rejection candle, because the sweep of this candle is a rejection candle. That is this one here is a rejection candle. So if you go to your 4-hour back, go to your 4-hour, what are you seeing in the 4-hour? We can see that the fight between the bulls and the bears is actually reflecting from the 4-hour and daily time frame, and the daily time frame tends to be stronger than the 4-hour time frame. So what are we saying now? We see that okay, now that price is actually closing below, we can see this body close below this fair value area. This is a rejection candle. What am I going to be looking for in price? I will just be looking for price now. Now my bearish bias is confirmed in Nasdaq. I'm looking for sales in Nasdaq, but I can't just jump into the market and start selling. I'm going to be looking for price to either, now price is failing to create a fair value gap here, but regardless, we can see that this low here, aligning with this fair value gap, this is a fair value area. So I'm going to put fair value area here. I'm going to put fair value area here. Then I'm going to draw out it so that it just be clear to you guys. So if market should create a fair value gap here, I can literally buy from here. I can sell from here if it creates fair value area, or I'll just simply wait for price to come into my level, and I look for lower time frame switch in order flow, then I'll be selling in Nasdaq. That's what I'll be doing for tomorrow, because now this is my contest high, and this is where I'll be targeting for my targets, my take profits, this lows here. So this is just what I'm looking for Nasdaq. So what else? The other pair I'm looking for is let me say shorts. No, wait. That is the THF JPY. THF JPY is kind of like an interesting pair as well. Like I spoke on my last video, despite the fact that we're sweeping this high, doesn't mean we're going lower. But what we can see a weekly fair value gap here. And once there's a weekly fair value gap here, we'll go to the daily time frame. What's the daily time frame doing? There's no fair value gap to the downside, so fine, no momentum to the downside. But if you go to your 4-hour time frame, what are we seeing? 4-hour time frame, market literally came to this swing high. Okay, market, this now is like a double top. Double top now is still like liquidity. So it's still like nice to see something like this here. Still very nice to see something like this here. Market is just sweeping the swing highs here. Market is looking like a sweep. So there's a fair value gap here. There's a fair value gap here. That is 4-hour BC. So what is price doing? This is the first candle. First candle rejects. We're supposed to see either this candle sweep and continue following through, but if this candle should close below, definitely we'll be targeting these lows here. We're targeting these lows here. So once we're targeting these lows here, we're coming into the weekly fair value gap. When we come into the weekly fair value gap, we can look for switching order flow again in the 4-hour or the 1-hour time frame, then look for buying coming to this weekly highs over here. So it's just still the waiting game. We're still waiting for what price we do. But now, weekly time frame, we're looking for higher prices. The 4-hour time frame, we're looking for price to come into our point of interest. Then we're looking for buys. So for now, this week, I'm just looking for CHF JPY and Nasdaq. I don't want to overcomplicate and look too much pairs. I'm just looking for CHF, and I'll be looking for Nasdaq to sell as well. Yeah, I'm looking to sell the Nasdaq as well. So tomorrow, these are the two pairs I'll just be watching. I'm going to drop a video on how I journal my trade before my session and during my session, then after my session. I'll be making a video on how I journal trade, and that will be all. And thanks guys for watching. I hope to see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching again. Peace. Bye bye.